Escapism is a big problem nowadays, but for us INFJs, escapism is a whole different world. Because escapism is not us necessarily running from the world, it's us running towards something that seems more meaningful. A lot of our best emotional states are happening internally completely, meaning we need space, we need time, and we need to be able to detach from what's currently going on. The problem, though, is that we can fall into so-called NITI loops, which lead us to being paralyzed. We do things like doom scrolling, or you fall victim to video gaming, or some other addiction that is not getting you to where you want. Sometimes we have the impression that we escape reality because reality seems so unsufferable. But if you look at it as somewhere where you can go to get inspired, somewhere where you can pick up joy and you can actually spread it into the world, you can put your stamp into your reality, everything changes. So let's talk about how we as INFJs can define escapism so it turns into a positive part of our life instead of having it something that is keeping you stuck where you're at and getting you more and more into despair. Before we get started, I want to remind you this Saturday is our next INFJ EPIC Life Bootcamp call. So join the hundreds of INFJs who create their INFJ EPIC Life together. This time we're talking about INFJ priority management. So come on over and be part of this amazing tribe. Everything you need to know you can find through the links in the description. The nature of INFJ escapism. This is really about defining it, because if we think that escapism is something that is a problem, we're going to guilt ourselves for doing it. We're going to shame ourselves, we're going to think we're doing something wrong, or we're not going to think about it at all. It feels like a guilty pleasure that is keeping us from moving forward in life. I'm a big advocate at looking at life from the perspective of, okay, it's not like I've won or I've not won. It's more of, am I really living out as much as I possibly can currently? Do I feel like I'm tapping into my highest aligned version that I'm currently able to tap into? And if the answer is yes, we feel good. It's about stretching oneself. And so if we are really at a place where we're stretching ourselves in a conscious way, we start feeling better. And we have to start looking at escapism for INFJs as part of this equation. So we're not doing it in order to avoid life. We're doing it to get the ingredients in order to stretch ourselves when it comes to the entirety of our life, which includes taking action in the real world. The turning point when escapism becomes isolation. So I've been there. I know what it feels to feel completely isolated. I've told you this story many times before I actually started this channel, which was a huge turning point for me because I finally had an outlet. Before that time, I had really periods of time where I felt completely isolated. So that meant, for example, when I was younger and I lived with my best friend and she came home, I remember just putting on my headphones and not wanting to talk to her. Like, that was already overwhelming for me because reality was just at such a place that I didn't like. It felt so much better to be in my mind than to actually face reality. And when you get to this place, you really know something is not going well, because what we're looking for is not to be found. If you really turn your escapism into isolation, you're looking for an answer at a place where, as I said, you just don't have enough information. As INFJs, we're really great at pattern recognition. So always go from the assumption, if I look at a situation and I haven't gotten an answer or solution within like the first, couple of days, or like however you want to think about something, you're not going to find it. And it really took me a long time to understand this, because as INFJs, we really have this like hate-love relationship with our third function, like every type does. But for us, that's TI. That's introverted thinking. And that's all about finding meaning, finding logic in our internal system. And we can get really addicted to that. Like, you'll see it really easily with other types when they're like overusing their third function. We do this by trying to find meaning in something. And it's like we have to prove to ourselves, but I know the answer. I'll find a solution here. But most of the time, if we haven't found a solution to some kind of, problem, then we're not going to find it there. Like, there's just information that is missing from our system. And we just have to understand that this is the situation. So most of the situations that lead us to isolation are unresolved relationships, any kind of circumstance where we didn't get closure, where we don't understand why certain things turned out the way they did, why certain people reacted to us in a specific way. Those are most of the times the reasons why we fall into isolation. And so escapism can really become a problem. And if you look at the word in itself, we all know escapism is not something that is like a positive word, but I think it's important for us to actually not look at it completely from the perspective of this is a bad thing, because we as INFJs, if we don't escape into our mind, we will just not exist. Like, this is just not possible. That's part of who we are. That's part of how we're wired. And it's like a beautiful part that we shouldn't look at something to be ashamed of. And, we're going to do it anyway. So stop making it a bad thing. Just understand, if you're really looking for an answer and you can't find that answer, that will lead you to isolation. That's when you really have leaned into a sphere that is not healthy. The hidden desire beneath escapism. As INFJs, we have to understand we don't go so deep inside of us. We don't escape reality because we say, okay, reality sucks and this is the only place I can really be myself and enjoy everything. If that was the case, we would be completely satisfied. It doesn't work. It's not enough. The hidden desire beneath our escapism is that we want to anchor in what we feel internally with our reality. We want it to be aligned. We want there to be a bridge, a connection. How I always like to say, we want to anchor in who we are. And that's why I'm such a big advocate of, post the songs you want, say the thing you want to say. Even if people look at you weird, it doesn't matter, because more importantly than all of that is for you to bring parts of you out, to kind of just set the scene. It's pretty much you expanding your internal world to the outside. Even if you feel like nobody is looking at certain things, or certain things don't matter, or people are going to look at you weirdly, the choices that you make, everything that you're doing externally that is based on an internal way of looking at life will help you. It is really helping you to align everything. And this is not some esoteric, wishful thinking. It really works. It changes so much. So when I'm in situations where I feel like, okay, this is actually leading to some kind of isolation because I'm not connecting those two worlds, I know what I have to do. I know I have to go inside and find a way to get it out somehow. Through what I say, what I post, how I dress, the choices that I make, it has to come out. And every single time I'm able to create a bridge, even if it's imperfect, even if it is kind of weird, if people don't understand it, I know that I'm already on my path. It already starts feeling better. That's why, I always say we create an INFJ epic life on our terms. And that's what we do in bootcamp all the time. Continuously build that bridge and continue walking that path. So it really becomes this aligned, road in life that you feel like, okay, I'm in flow. I know I'm living my epic life right now. That doesn't mean that you won't have moments or days or weeks where things are not working out completely. But once you figured out how to get there, you'll always find your way back, because okay, when I do these 3 things on a regular basis, I actually start feeling like myself. The integration, bringing your inner world out. So the goal is not to stop escaping. So I really want to hone this in, because if we are telling ourselves every single time we escape reality, every single time we get into our fantasy worlds and we really live there for a longer period of time, we're doing something that is wrong. And so what you're teaching your mind and your body is what actually feels the best for me is the wrong thing. This is not how I'm supposed to be. This is considered wrong. And, you kind of build this love-hate relationship with such an essential part of you. The point is to know why you're going inside, that you will get highs that you won't get anywhere else. I remember yesterday I was at Pilates and I was just laughing. I had such epiphanies. I had such memories come up, just emotions that, bubbled up, and I felt so amazing, and everything happening while I'm not talking to anybody, while I'm in this peaceful state. And I think this is something that INFJs are really good at. So let's just use that, knowing that being in our internal world is where the magic happens. This is the place where there aren't any restrictions, where you can build this fantasy of yours, those emotions emotions and those like amazing new combinations of things. It's like this part of creativity that you've birthed inside of your mind. It really starts there. And if you're not allowing yourself to escape to such an extent, you're never going to be able to tap into those things. But what we also have to learn is that it's not enough. We are INFJs. Yes, we're introverts, but we're still people. We still, have a sense of belonging. We still want to connect. We still want to feel fulfilled. And that means that part of this has to be brought to the outside. People who are extroverts, people who are sensors, they might go less internally or like in those deep introvert intuition worlds, right? And have like most of their life playing out, on a concrete basis, but they still need both. And that's how it is with us. Yes, we can spend so much time internally and like really leaning into this, but in order to feel complete, there has to be some kind of bridge. There has to be some kind of connection. You cannot hide this part of you. I've hid this part of me for so long because I felt it's weird. People are going to judge it. It's just going to make me be an outcast from the get-go. It's so much easier to just live in my, internal world and then on the outside pretend like I'm everybody else. You will not be happy that way. It just doesn't work. And yes, you will have to face some judgments, but it will pass. Like people actually get used to it. Before you know it, they have integrated it into like normal reality. People react strongly towards you when you bring out your vision and how you see the world because they've never seen it this way. They're like, who do you think you are? You can just like do this and get away with it. Because so many people don't have the capacity to bring that much out, or they are restricted in some other way. And as I said, there is no INFJs are better than others. It's just this is a part where we go really deep and, it's on us to bring it out somehow. And so for others, they have great other strengths. This is ours. So our ability to go internally is like amazing, and we get such great insights. We can help so many people. We can move, so many things forward, but none of it is going to make our life feel fulfilled, nor is it really going to help anybody if we keep it hidden because we don't want to out ourselves as somebody who sees the world a little bit differently. Find an outlet, right? This is what we talk about in bootcamp all the time, is how can I create an outlet that is part of my everyday life? The job that I have, the connections that I'm building, the philanthropic causes that I'm connected with, the things I get vocal about, the things that matter to me that I stop hiding. And the more we express ourselves, the more we actually find that balance. And, up until this day, still most of my world happens internally, but it's like those small, couple percent more that I bring things out that make all the difference. You don't have to be 50-50 introvert, extrovert. Okay, that's fine. But it's just like if you constantly are introverted and you don't feel good about it, let's bring it out more. And that does not mean you have to go to social events and pretend like you're somebody else. It's actually building a bridge between your inner world that you escape to, which is where the magic happens, and finding a way to bring it out, knowing that the way it comes out will never be as good as you imagine it. It will never be a complete reflection of who you are, and that's okay. It's more so about the act of bringing it out that pretty much clears our system and makes room for more. The transformation from escape to evolution. What I think a lot of INFJs underestimate is our ability to create evolution through that entire process of escaping, expressing, and then taking in new information. You will never be able to feed your system with new ideas if you're not willing to express yourself. Because every single time you express yourself authentically, as much as you possibly can, one way or another, your environment will have a reaction. You will see how people around you shift their behavior, and you will sense it on a very, deep level, but you'll still sense it, and it will be different than what you expect. Sometimes it is like you expected, but just like a little bit different, and sometimes it's completely different. Like people so often don't react as strongly as you were afraid they would. Some people, really take a step back because subconsciously they know, okay, this is not something I can handle at this time, like it triggers too much within me. But every single time you see that reaction, from the people around you, from just circumstances that change, you get new insights. And when you get new insights, this is information that you can feed your system, so to say, and you can create new worlds. Like there is an evolution that happens internally before you actually bring it out. So I have created this immense world inside of me that is so much more solid than it used to, because I have done this process so many times. And it really changed the moment I was willing to face that judgment and show those parts of me that didn't look normal, because through that, you kind of like open the valve, you open the outlet, and every single time you express yourself in this way, you make room for, new information to come in. You can't feed your mind new information and new insights and new ideas if you don't have this communication with the outside world. As long as you keep what is inside hidden, you can't really grow from it. That's what I meant with, if you haven't found a solution to a problem, thinking about it more. So going into TI isn't going to help you. That's the NITI loop. That's why it's a loop. You need new insight. And in order to get more insight, you need to express. Because when you express, there's always an emotional, energetic feedback, and that gives you new information. And from that, you grow. And then it's on us to actually say, okay, let me make this another stepping stone in my personal evolution. So remember, INFJ escapism isn't a flaw. It's part of our evolution. It's part of how we're built. It's an amazing place to be, and I wouldn't want to trade it for the world. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm happy that I have it in my life, that I have my internal world, and this is just the best place ever. No matter how great reality is, I really cherish this part in me. And I really hope that you look at your mind the same way and your way of escapism, but really know that you're going to do this consciously. This is not about, doom scrolling or watching TV series all the time. This is really about tapping into music and art and just things that inspire you, that give you a better understanding of what makes you feel fulfilled and real and authentic. And to then say, let me make it a stepping stone in creating that INFJ epic life on my terms. Remember, if you want a community of INFJs around you who's doing just that together, then join us in bootcamp. We're hundreds of INFJs. Bootcamp has been going on for 3-4 years now. So I love the community that we're building there. I love the lessons we really get to share with each other. There's so much learning material and just experience in one place. And I welcome every INFJ who's ready to take the next step in their personal evolution. Everything you need to know in order to join us, you can find in the link in the description. The live call is this Saturday, October 25th on INFJ Priority Management. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then check out the video you see on the screen right now. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.